November 20th, 2024. The meeting is now open at 3:02 p.m. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the north wall of the county boardroom. We'll commence with roll call. Melissa Kimberly.
Here.
Got it. Randy Bennett.
Here.
George Forst.
Here.
And Jonathan Davidson. Thank you, team.
And Diane Bruce is absent. Diane Bruce is absent.
Yep, Diane is absent. Also attending are Carrie Plummer-Galecki, Board Secretary, Mary Davis, HR Director, as well as Kayla Starbuck. No?
No Rosario today.
What's that?
No Rosario.
No Rosario today. Got it. From the County Attorney's Office. All right. Item number 1, public comments. Carrie, is there anyone waiting to speak during the open comments?
No, there is not.
Thank you. Item number 2, appointment of classified employee appointee. As we all know, earlier this year, Stephen Abraham resigned from the Personnel Policy Board due to conflict with a new position. The Employee Advisory Committee nominated Melissa Kimmerling to fill this position. Melissa will serve from November 20th, 24 to 12/31/26. With that said, as of November 24th, we have not received any other nominations. Do we have a motion?
I'll move to
Oh,
accept.
hang on. Sorry.
But
Now you can go. Sorry. Carrie was having a technical difficulty.
There is going to be one?
We're good. I need a second.
Okay.
I moved to
Oh,
accept.
okay, second.
Motion by Bennett, second by Force. And on your screen should be a
I
vote.
do need Melissa to abstain, though.
Oh,
Please-
I abstain.
You please abstain.
3 1 absent, 1 abstain, motion carries.
Yay.
Motion to approve has passed. Item number 3. We are addressing the minutes of the September 27th, 2024 meeting, which you all received a copy. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved to accept the meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion by Bennett, seconded by Force to approve the meeting minutes from September 27th meeting. We can now vote on screen, and Melissa, you don't have to abstain this time.
She would have to because she
Oh,
wasn't
because she
here.
wasn't present.
Correct.
That's right. Thank you. I think that's the last thing you'll have to abstain. Motion by Bennett, seconded by Forrest, and it is approved with 3
3 1
ayes and-
abstain, 1 absent, motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you. Item 4. We're here to discuss and make recommendations for the Equal Employment Opportunity Policy and Anti-Discrimination Statement. Mary may have a few comments.
Yes, I do. Good afternoon, board members. You know, just to kind of recap where we're at, especially for our new board member, we are in the process of reviewing all of our personnel rules and regulations. They were originally developed back in 2011 when the civil service came into place here at Sarpy County. You know, at the present time, we've got personnel rules and regulations that apply to the classified service. These changes are reviewed by an employee advisory committee as well as a management advisory committee. Once they make it through those committees, they come to the Personnel Policy Board for approval and then on to the county board for final approval. We also have what we call county policy bulletins, and those are bulletins or policies that apply to all county employees. And they deal with things like harassment, ADA, tobacco, drug-free workplace policy. The goal with our revisions today is to basically create one employee handbook that will have two sections, one for the personnel rules and regs and one for the county policy bulletins, so that our classified employees have one place where they can find all of the information that pertains to their position. The employee and the management advisory group, they meet every 2 weeks. To review the policy revisions, and we're taking those policies starting at the beginning and moving through. We do have collective bargaining going on this year, so we will bring all non-economic items to you until we've finished with our labor negotiations. Okay? After we've made our revisions, then the full handbook will go to the county board for approval. And as we're going through these, you'll see, we've all of our policy headings, the numbering system, the table of contents, all of those will be finalized before it goes to the county board for approval. Okay? As we go through these policies, you'll see throughout the policies, you might see a notation where it says policy number and then XXX. We'll fill that in as we go through this. Okay? So that's just a little bit of history of how we got here today and what we're doing. And I appreciate the fact that you guys are meeting on a monthly basis until we can get through the majority of this. So thank you very much for that. We do have to be out of here by 4 o'clock today. Because we have another meeting in this room, so we'll kind of go through these policies a little quickly. If for some reason you want additional information and we don't have time for it today, we can table that policy till the next month. Okay? So again, the policies that we will be reviewing today have been vetted through the Employee Advisory Group, the Management Advisory Group, as well as the County Attorney's Office and Administration. Okay? The first one that we're going to take a look at is our new EEO and anti-discrimination statement, if you will. This actually was moved from Reg 1, if I can talk, to a separate policy. We actually added the anti-discrimination statement. Moving forward, this policy will be placed in the section of the handbook that deals with employment. Okay, and it should be a standalone policy, not something that's embedded in another policy, because it should be pretty easy to find if anybody's looking for that. Do you have any questions or comments on on the revisions to that policy?
None here. Nope.
Don't see any.
Okay. Then we need a motion to approve.
I'll move to accept as presented as the equal employment opportunity policy and the anti-discrimination statement.
I second. The motion and a second.
For yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that passed, so thank you.
Okay, thank you.
This is the intro. We're now on item agenda 5. Yes.
Okay. Okay. This is to discuss and make recommendations to the Sarpy County Handbook introduction, and this is new. Basically, you have a welcome to Sarpy County, a policy that, or a welcome section. And then what you'll see in this policy is that majority of the information found in Rule 1, Reg 1, was moved to this introduction. Like I said, we have the new language welcoming employees to Sarpy County. The purpose of the handbook, we have our language that basically says it's not an implied contract of employment. The employees are responsible for reading and understanding the information contained in the handbook. The county board has the right to modify as needed. And also within this section is who is covered by this handbook. And it also mentions, here at the county, we have 6 collective bargaining units. So we've got the personnel rules and regs, we've got the collective bargaining agreements, and then we have departmental policies and how all those kind of work together. Mm-hmm. So this policy kind of, mentions those things and how they're handled. Any questions?
It also mentioned in there that they're responsible for signing every year annually this, so just in case there's changes to be made.
Absolutely.
They're acknowledging the fact that they have received and understand everything in this book.
Correct, and that's something that that will be starting once this is
Really good idea.
Completely put together on an annual basis. After we roll it out, then on an annual basis, the employees are going to have to acknowledge that they have read and received the handbook.
Are there push-outs of any updates that occur throughout the year, or would it only be updated once a year? And what's the notification process?
At the present time, any changes that go on with this board are pushed out to the employees. They have an opportunity to come and speak on those, and then they're moved forward to the county board for approval. And once those are approved, then they're pushed out.
Okay.
Moving forward, it would be great if we could get on an annual cycle of just modifying the policies as needed. So, and then maybe a complete review of the different sections as we were talking about.
Perhaps an open enrollment time or something,
Yeah,
something else
like
that's
that.
kind of triggered on an annual basis.
Yeah. Okay.
With regards to the introduction and purpose statements as recommended, is there a motion?
All motion.
Second. To approve as written. Motion by Kimmerling, second by Forst. That does include the annual signing as part of it, for the record.
Correct.
4 yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
Agenda item 6, recommendation to Rule 1, the County Civil Service Act, general provisions, intent and purpose. Mary, you have an intro.
So with this Rule 1, Reg 1, a great deal of this policy has been moved to the handbook introduction and focuses on the intent and purpose of the Civil Service Act. Section 1 outlines the intent and purpose of the act. Section 2 talks about the county personnel officer. Section 3, that is new language on the advisory groups, the employee group and the management advisory group, how we will make changes to the rules and regs moving forward, that they will run through those committees and then brought forward to the board. The previous sections 4 and 5 were moved to the introduction section. New section 5 remains the same. The old section 7 was moved to the introduction, and then the new section 6 remained the same. Do you have any questions on that?
Hearing no questions or discussion, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the intent and purpose on this personal rules and regulations as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion by Bennett to approve as submitted, Reg 1, primarily reformatting modifications, a second by Forst. We may now vote.
4 yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
Agenda item number 7. Discuss and make recommendations to Rule 1 County Civil Service Act General Provisions, Reg 3, coverage on unclassified service and savings clause. Mary?
Yes. Just a quick comment on, if you notice, Rule 1, Reg 2, definitions is not included. And the reason for that is that as we move through this revision process, we might add, modify, change those definitions a little bit. So we will wait until we've wrapped up the majority of these changes before we bring that forward to you. And then Rule 1, Reg 3, the coverage, unclassified service, and savings clause. If you note on that, majority of that has been moved to the introduction section. So we would strike that policy completely. Is there any questions on that?
Is there any piece of that that didn't get moved at all?
I don't believe so, but
Okay.
let's double check. No, it was all moved and then modified.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So to be clear, we're just going to move to eliminate Rule 1, Reg 3.
Correct.
I'll move that we move to eliminate Rule 1, Reg 3.
You have a motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Melissa. We have a motion on Rule 1, Reg 3 for edits and removal. We may now vote.
Four yea, one absent, motion carries.
Moving to agenda item number 8, discuss and make recommendations to Rule number 1 of the County Civil Service Act, general provisions on Reg 4 with regards to the Personnel Policy Board.
Okay, Rule 1, Reg 4. This language is really an update to the entire policy. You know, when the language was first developed, it included some changes that were going to happen in the future in 2018. So that has all been cleaned up, and it clarifies, the new language clarifies, you know, board appointments, your terms, and how vacancies are filled. So in this policy, a lot of that language comes out completely. Do you have any questions?
So it appears that it's simplifying various terms and maturities of the term to 5 years for everyone, where it wasn't that way before. Right?
It was that way after we got through the original.
Yeah, we had 6 people at that time, didn't we? We had
I thought
6
they all-
board members, and then we did a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
They were staggered terms.
Staggered. And that's the nature of my question is, we're all on 5-year
We're all on 5
terms
years.
now, but
Yes.
but they're not all co-synchronous. We don't all mature at the same time.
Correct. You're all on staggered terms. Yes.
Got it. Thank you for clarifying. This also specifies the frequency or the requirement of our meetings,
Yeah.
at least quarterly. No
Yes.
change. No change to that.
No change to that.
Perfect.
I have one question. So earlier in my appointment, this is this board, correct? Okay. We had indicated 11/20 of 24 through 12/31 of 26, so that's not 5 years, but then this is saying 5 years? Help me understand.
But
I think that's just serving on the term.
I'm serving out the remaining term of the individual. Okay,
that is
thank
in
you.
fact addressed in this policy.
Okay.
Any interim appointments
Serve the term.
serve the remaining portion of the term to which they were appointed.
Don't begin a new term. Thank you.
And
And
then
then-
following
2026, if you choose to be reappointed, you'd go to a whole 5-year term.
Okay, wonderful, thank you.
Good question. Do we have a motion on Rule 1, Reg 4, Personnel Policy Board?
Make a motion to approve the changes to Rule 1, Regulation 4.
Motion by Forrest, second by Davidson.
Four yea, one absent, motion carries.
Moving to agenda item number 9, discuss and make recommendations to Rule 1, County Civil Service Act, Reg 5, Personnel Policy Board meetings.
Yes, so Rule 1, Reg 5 talks about the board hearings. And as you can see, there's just been some updated language changes to this. There wasn't a complete overhaul of any section. It was just, updating maybe some older language. And do you have any questions on those?
I had a question on the first statement that was added to Section 1, the applicable right of appeal. Is there a secondary policy or somewhere else that the information is outlined for that employee on what could constitute an appeal and what that process is? It's in a different policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mary, I don't just have 2 comments and then 2 comments and then 1 question. Adding that it's a public hearing is a good change, by the way, so as opposed to, we missed that the first time. That always should, that should have been a public hearing, always noted as a public. It always has been.
It always has been, correct.
But it's noted now as public hearing. My and that's in 2 places. My question is, it refers to Human Resource Director or a designee after discussion with the affected parties. There doesn't appear to be a definition or clarity on what that designee, who that designee could be or what role. Could we dive into that just a minute? Because I think
absolutely,
a
we can talk
substitute
about
for
that.
Human Resources Director, should meet certain sets of qualifications. And what thought has gone into that, or what considerations would there be?
Yes, so in my absence, the assistant director would present the information and take care of the hearings. And that's currently what happens right now, is that Carrie handles all of the exhibits, notifying of the parties, all of that. And so we can specify that if you would like.
Well, so the current practice would continue, which is
Correct.
which is fine. I just wanted to make sure that there was not going outside of the current practice.
Yes.
Do we think we need to make a designation that be defined?
Well, I don't think so. It just, maybe it could say something agreed upon person, because what if they both get in a car accident? Who's the third one, right? I mean.
It's probably within her job descriptions to identify, right? Somewhere in a different document that she has a responsibility for identifying who would be there in her place and verifying that they would be capable of doing that. I don't know.
I could accept it as stands, given that it's a current practice, continued just for the definition.
Yeah, and we also have, the county personnel officer, which is the county administrator.
That's county administrator.
Yes.
That's right.
Yep. So in our absence, the county administrator would step in and make sure that this is being taken care of.
Perfect.
Okay.
Any other questions from the?
I got one. On page 3, when they're going through the types of actions that we can ask questions on and rule on, it basically states 3 things: if the employee did or did not commit to transgression, if discipline imposed is not authorized under provisions of the PRR, relative collective bargaining agreement, or if the elected official failed to take into consideration a mitigating factor.
Sure.
Okay, so we've had we've had rulings where the act wasn't in question, all these things were not in question, but we chose to impose a lighter punishment than what the department had initially wanted to do. Is that limited with these things, or is it not? I mean, does that get covered under the mitigating circumstances portion of the third one, or is this something where we're just going to have to either accept or not accept the punishment? See what I'm saying?
I sort of interpret number 3 in the department head or elected official's decision in imposing discipline maybe didn't take something into consideration, so that would maybe open up an opportunity to determine a different disciplinary action is ready, but maybe that's not
That's what I
clear.
thought. I just wanted to, if I'm reading that correctly or not. I mean,
That does make sense that maybe there's clarity that different discipline, a different disciplinary, because would there be an opportunity, and this is truly a question, would there be an opportunity that the board would ever determine a higher level of discipline should have been the outcome? Or is it always
Right.
stay with the decision or decrease?
because the first 3 points right above that one, the things we can, the board shall limit itself to the following questions: whether the employee committed the transgression, whether the discipline imposed for the transgression is authorized, okay, if it's authorized, and then third, whether the elected official or department head in imposing the discipline considered any mitigating factors.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the 3 things that we can ask questions on. So then, I'm just wondering if the penalty or whatever the department head wants to impose, if that's still going to be under our purview to change.
To modify.
I feel that.
Well,
yeah.
I think that might be covered, but not explicitly, in the second part where it says, in such cases, three qualifications being met, the board shall affirm the action of the elected official. So we always have the option of not affirming, even if we agree that the tests have been met, we don't have to affirm the action of the elected official unless it's clearly established by those things. So we could say, yeah, we don't affirm 4, but we'd affirm 3, and then the official could make a change to the recommendation and then receive the affirmation. That is, once they've been considered guilty of the infraction, the discipline is authorized. It's within an authorized amount, and then they are considering all the factors.
Yeah.
Well, because
So-
when we've done it in the past, we've just changed the punishment.
We have.
And that's what was done.
And
So
I-
instead of being like suspended for a week, they got suspended for a couple of days or whatever.
And that's my point, that we didn't affirm the week. We essentially countered with a different, we agreed that there was guilt, we agreed that there was process and within policy, and we agreed that they considered the factors, but we just said, hey, the punishment doesn't fit. And so we arrived at a recommendation of shorter, and then the elected official,
Right.
they agreed. It's not explicit in here. I
Right,
agree
it's
with
not explicit in here so I don't
That
know
we have
that we can
authority to
actually
do
do that then. If it's not laid out here, I don't know that we can actually do that.
Yeah. Kayla, do you have any thoughts on that?
I do. The way that I view this is you have to also consider what the employee is asking you to do when they file their appeal form. So they may file an appeal after they've been terminated saying they wish to be reinstated. So then you look at these factors and you vote for reinstatement, to affirm their appeal, or not to reinstate them. If we're talking about things like suspension, they may ask you, I don't agree with the number of days that I've been suspended. And then you could say, yes, I agree with you. You should have been suspended this amount of days. So taking into consideration the appeal form, I think will answer a lot of these questions for you. If it doesn't, we can revisit some language here, but I did also want to point out that we've not substantively changed anything in this regulation. So things will continue to go as they have in the past.
Understood. Thank you.
Quick question. Given that we can lessen or reduce a penalty for an infraction, and I'm going to use, say, somebody that has a 3-day suspension, appeals that, we make the determination it should have been 1 day. Is there anything in the language? I haven't seen anything that not only would the county have to sign off on that, but the representative labor group would have to sign off also, because it's going to probably fall outside of the CBA. Is there any language in here that says that all parties would have to agree?
I think that, because those are always done in a hearing format with,
They are.
with representation of both sides.
Yes, and
Yep,
your decision is
fair.
binding on the parties. So whatever you decide, that's what the elected official will move forward with.
That's a,
Stepping
good
outside
point.
of CBA sometimes can be done. We just got to be real careful when
Fair
it's,
enough.
when it is
Right.
done, that it doesn't set a precedent for future cases.
Sure.
thank you for addressing those questions. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve Rule 1, Reg 5, as presented today.
I will second. Motion by Bennett, second by Davidson. We can vote for the approval of Rule 1, Reg 5, Personnel Policy Board meetings.
4 yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Only one thing remaining, unless. Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Bennett,
Second.
Forrest, second. Welcome, Melissa. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
We may vote. Meeting is adjourned.
4 yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
You got to wait for the results.
I don't, I saw it right here.
Shows people's names too, so we don't